I have to admit, I was 100% wrong. Years ago, when Carson Palmer was drafted by the Cincinnati Bengals first overall, by the second year, his team looked legit. He was putting up amazing stats. And I got into debate with one of my doctors when I was getting my hand checked out. He was a big Tom Brady fan, right? Already won a Super Bowl. They were a really good franchise. And Brady was one of the best quarterbacks. He had all the excitement. But for me, I was not looking. I did not see the big picture. I had blinders on. I actually told him, hey man, right now if I could have a quarterback, I would take Carson Palmer because he's bigger, stronger, first pick, did better in college, Heisman Trophy winner, and he just had the look of like Troy Aikman, right? This big, strong quarterback who can get it done. While Tom Brady, who years later did get in better shape, but at the time was still just looked like, a guy who won a Super Bowl or won a couple Super Bowls on the backs of a lucky call, a bad penalty against the Raiders, some great kicks by Vinatieri, a good team, a great coach. And I threw all the excuses out there. Oh, it's a system. It's a system. They don't even have any good wide receivers. What does that tell you? That it's just a system. Everything's 5-yard dumps. Maybe a 10-yard, maybe once in a while 20-yard. But Brady's not that good. He's just really good at managing the game. Those are everything I said. And I'm openly admitting that was wrong. I was wrong about him. Now, how long did it take me to realize that? I will say, even in other Super Bowls, where I think it was Seattle, where you watch it and I'm like, even while I'm watching them, I'm going, and I was cheering. I was cheering for the Patriots in that one. I do not like the Seahawks. I love their players, but I did not like the team. Sorry, Seahawk fans. But as he was doing that, I'm like, look, he's not doing anything different. Dumping it here, little 5 yards. The receivers are making the plays. And I think that's just part of blinders, hater blinders, right? Not letting me see who he really is and who he really was and how great he was, and that he was taking these players, right? Taking these players and making good players. And when I mean good, I mean they're in the NFL. If you are in the NFL, you are a 1% of the population. You are a good player. Even if you stink on NFL standards, you are a good player. So he's taking these good players and he's making them household names. He's getting them in Pro Bowls. He's getting them signed contracts with other teams, right? They're grabbing them, and then it's funny. After a few seasons, they're gone. And where are they back? In New England. But it was the coach. The coach was the reason, not Brady. Because the coach, Belichick, he had won in Cleveland. He had taken a Cleveland Browns team that was notorious for losing and won a playoff game. He came so close to getting out of the second round and taking to the AFC title game. And I believe if the Browns had not moved that franchise, that Bill Belichick would have won a Super Bowl. Because remember, they moved, a couple years later, the Ravens, they win. Belichick was such a good coach. The reason it fell off the track the following season is the team knew they were moving. The fan base was pissed. The players had checked out. It was done. So I was like, oh, Belichick. It's all Belichick. And then the coordinators would go other places, but the Patriots kept winning. What does that tell you? It's not the coordinators. It's not the receivers. It's not the plug-in running back, right? The only big running back, maybe Kevin Falk was a good receiver, but it was Corey Dillon. He was the only big-name running back that was on that team and played well and got a Super Bowl. But in the end, it's all the coach. It's not Brady. These are the things self-denials, right? I don't have a problem. That's the number one sign you have a problem. And I did. I was like that. I openly admit that. Was I a hater? No, not a hater. I didn't dislike the guy. Like I said, I've cheered other games for him to win. Had him in fantasy. So no, I was never a Brady hater. I just thought he was getting all this credit for things that as a team they're doing, but he was getting too much credit. And we know in the NFL, quarterbacks get too much blame or too much credit. And then it was, oh my gosh, he's got 3 Super Bowls. And he's got 4. And, and in my mind, I'm like, it's just never, I think the 6th round pick and the fact that he just didn't look the part like a Carson Palmer, like a Troy Aikman, like a John Elway. Even as far back as like 4 years ago, I would say if I was having an all-time quarterback draft, I would take Elway and Marino over Brady. Now, Elway got 2 Super Bowls. He got to 5. And he's one of the best quarterbacks of all time. Physically stronger than Brady. Does that mean that he should be better? Like, I still struggle with that right now. Who would you draft right now if you could have your team is nothing. You're starting with the quarterback. You could have Elway or Brady. I think until probably recently, I would have automatically taken Elway every time. just within the last few years, I think I've said, you know what, I'm going to go with Brady. Because I saw the Elway comebacks. I've seen some of the craziness. I've seen Joe Montana, Dan Marino, some of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. But, even if Brady doesn't fit that mold or have that arm, he does have good arm strength. If you, like me, you remember those things called the Pro Bowl or the quarterback competition in Hawaii, where you had the best quarterbacks. Brady had some where he went over 70 yards. He won some distance contests. Even if you thought at the time it wasn't as strong, Brady was a strong quarterback. You just didn't, at least people like me, didn't see that. There was always an excuse holding it back. Now, you can even say when he went to Tampa, oh, he went to Tampa and he won. See, he doesn't need Belichick in New England. Well, I can argue, which I did, Tampa has everything. When he went there, they had everything but a quarterback. Jameis Winston put up insane numbers, 30 touchdowns, but he also had 30 picks. Bad decision making. You put a guy like Brady on that team, they should do well. Now, he did even better than I ever thought he would. Beating Green Bay in Green Bay, which nowadays doesn't seem like it's a big thing. But still, that is a tough place to play. And Brady did it. Brady, man, that run in Tampa was so amazing and outstanding that I was so glad he did, because then it showed that it wasn't just New England. And later on, I figured it wasn't. You know what really turned my mind from the old ways of thinking? Was when he got Randy Moss. When he had a real wide receiver and is dropping 50 touchdowns. I want to say he broke Peyton Manning's record, and then I think Manning broke it later in Denver. Vice versa, one of those. But he broke Peyton Manning's record. 50 touchdown passes. Once you gave him a real weapon, you're like, wow. And that, no coordinator, doesn't matter. There wasn't game plan. You don't game plan 50 touchdowns like that when you are someone as good as Brady has. And that made me say, okay, I was wrong. Carson Palmer is not better than him. Even if he looks the part better, even if he was drafted higher, even if he was a Heisman and won the call, he is not better than Brady. And in the end, even if the offense, like he did against Atlanta, I think he threw for like 500 yards. But can you remember, other than like the Edelman pass, any significant pass? Like when there's a big play and you go, oh, remember when Mahomes bombed it and Tyreek got that touchdown? Like a big play. I don't remember anything in that game that was like that against the Falcons. Everything was dink and dunk and dink and dunk. But if that's the offense and it works, which it did, then who cares? Well, he doesn't have to throw 30-yard touchdowns. He could throw a 5-yard screen that goes for a touchdown. Or he's just like a surgeon and he just attacked. He attacked. And he won that Super Bowl. But this is a debate I've gotten with friends too, is that even when they almost lost that, I had some friends who were saying, oh, Brady's done. He's out of his prime. He blew that Super Bowl. The old Brady would have never done that. And they thought it would ding his overall career. No. Just like I don't think Elway should be held. He's got 2 and 5. Brady is 7-3. And in even the 3 losses, they were all close. They were all games that he could have won. 10 Super Bowls, and all of them close. Like all of them with even the wins. Right? You can't take it away. Even if Vinatieri, let's say they had a crappy kicker, then they probably don't even get to those. But even if Vinatieri missed a few of those, I still wouldn't put that on Brady. Brady did everything he could in all those Super Bowls. And to me, he's got to be the greatest quarterback of all time. I don't like to say the greatest player, because in a team game, you really can't, in my opinion. But I can't think of a quarterback right now. If I had to have a draft and I was starting the league, I know you got guys like Lamar Jackson who have great running. Nuh-uh. I want Tom Brady. It took me a lot of years to realize this, but I was 100% wrong. Let me know if you were as well. Do you put Brady towards the top? Would you take someone like John Elway? Would you take someone like Jalen Hurts? Patrick Mahomes? That's the big one. I still don't even if Mahomes wins the next 2 Super Bowls, I won't put him at Brady's status. Because Mahomes, even in his 2 Super Bowl wins, if you watch him, they weren't that good, especially the Niners. He was awful. And then the Bucks, he was awful. And the Eagles, I think he had a few 5-yard touchdown passes most of the game. He didn't impress me. They won. But it just, nothing has been like, wow, blown me away like Tom Brady has. So, yes, in my opinion, I was 100% wrong about Tom Brady. Is he up there? Yes, I think he is the #1 quarterback of all time. And he deserves it. Should he come back? Comment. Let me know. Who would you take if you had a draft right now over Tom Brady? Put who you think you would take and why. And also, should he come back and play for the Raiders? How ironic would that be? Thanks a lot, guys. like, subscribe, leave a comment, and look for more Red 13 videos. Peace.